Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ryan Fernandez. In a bit, I will be introducing our speaker for tonight on our topic on a smart start for an A+ year. So it's back to school for many of our kids, and for the parents in the room, I'm sure you're very interested in helping your kid perform better, actually at their best, and to excel in all of their studies, to be able to work hard, but also to play hard. So I just want to clarify that this is part of our ongoing Optimal Health series where we discuss different health topics. Sometimes it's about weight management or immunity or eating smarter. But like tonight, our topic is about children's education. And no, there is no better speaker than who we've invited. Now, before I call on her, I just want to greet each and every one of you wherever you're watching from. I know some of you are watching from Cebu, others from Manila, and perhaps other parts of the country as well. After the talk, we will have some breakout rooms. So if you'd like to discuss the topic or ask questions from our speaker, you're very welcome to do so. I'd also like to add that tonight's sponsor is Nutrilite. Nutrilite is the world's oldest and largest brand of vitamins and supplements, and that includes children's supplements. So later on, we're going to hear a little bit more about Nutrilite. And of course, tonight's organizer is Syzygy, our community. We actually help empower people in optimal wealth, their finances, optimal self, personal growth, and optimal health, such as tonight's topic, helping our kids achieve the best version of their health. So our speaker comes all the way from Cebu. She has a background as a children's education consultant working with different kinds of children, different ages, different learning patterns. She is also a certified health and wellness coach here at Syzygy, where she helps her patients actually eat better, achieve their target weight, and be a more mindful eater. So let's welcome to talk about a smart start for a new year, Romina Rizari. Hi, Romina.
Thank you, Ryan. Welcome, everybody. I'm assuming those who are in the audience are around children. Nah? It is my privilege to share my ideas on the title, which is actually Ryan's assignment for me. Yeah? How to nurture a smart start for some of us for another A+ year. Okay. Welcome to the information age. Yeah, so what's happening in the information age? The skills we develop while we are learning actually translates to all aspects of our lives. That will include our relationships, and when we are older, our careers. Now, let's learn to explore our ability to learn today, and also what patterns might emerge with your interaction with a specific child. Okay, so learning leads to the process of acquiring a new understanding. And then it also leads to new things like new behaviors, preferences, skills, values, and attitudes. Humans and animals learn, and we're learning now. Some machines can learn too. So there are timeless principles that involve learning. Let's look at them like commandments, so to speak. So first principle is we learn when we are treated with respect. Maybe you have encountered some teachers who embarrassed you. Probably you still remember that teacher, you remember the name, you remember your embarrassment, but I don't think you remember much of the lessons they taught. Okay, we also learn when we are engaged, when we help set the goal, and also when we help plan the activity. We also learn in conducive and supportive environments. So most of the time when Syzygy asks me to share a bit of my practice with the group, I want to say yes, because I know in this environment, I will learn better ways of communicating my passion and what I do. Okay? We also learn when we interact within a certain relationship, a mentor or a student. So learning is relational, very social as well. We learn when we use our resources. So let's begin with knowing our style for learning. What's your preference? Maybe you're like me, you like something visual. So you explore different colors, even highlighters, you color your books. Or maybe you're very auditory. You like to listen to audiobooks, or simply listening to a lecture is enough for you, that satisfies you. Or maybe you like to learn with your body. You like movement. So it's fun. It's easier if you're working with your hands. It's very easy for you to learn maybe dance sequences and all of that. So begin with your learning style. We also learn when we experience rewards of learning. Maybe you got your certificate, your perfect score, your recognition. So it also engages you because it becomes part of your identity. I know in the audience is a friend of mine who was valedictorian since birth. I don't know very many people like that. But imagine if you accomplish something very young, it's something that you strive for the rest of your life, as it is in her case. We also learn when we reflect on what we learn, or we reflect on ways to apply what we learn. Okay. Kids need to sleep at the same time. So why? Because the effects of sleep deprivation show up very early in children. They get distracted the next day. They're moody. They're very disorganized. They're impulsive. And they tend to eat a lot, and a lot of the wrong things. They will binge on something salty and something sweet. And maybe if you're listening and you're also sleep deprived, you might see a little bit of those behaviors in yourselves. So it's really imperative that we begin with sleep. Children need to sleep at the same time every day, even weekends. Circadian dysregulation will cause poor school performance. So if you're the parent who engages with your child's learning, you invest in the best school, don't ruin it by making the child stay up late on weekends. So how much sleep do they need? If they're very young, like toddlers, 11 hours. So that's practically half the day. For preschool children, 10 hours. For school age years, 9. And older, for the teenagers, 8. So if you're older than a teenager, maybe you should strive for at least 7. And for most of us, including me, I struggle reaching 7. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we encourage early bedtime? Maybe the last bite or the last sip will happen 3 hours before bedtime. Because if the gut is very busy digesting food, melatonin doesn't come out. The child doesn't get sleepy or he's uncomfortable. Screens should be off. All screens. We're not saying only the TV, everything. 1 hour before bedtime. Okay, so maybe you can plan your nighttime routine. So that will include maybe a bath, some prayers, maybe brushing teeth, a story from a book, so it's not from a screen. Okay, you also want to prepare the environment where the child sleeps. The lights are dim, the temperature is cool, okay, and it's quiet. The child might tell stories, be engaging, or try to play. But if he is in bed for a long time, he will eventually settle down and sleep. Refrain from waking them up early because you want them to feel rested and refreshed when they wake up. So the struggle is getting them to school on time. For example, if school starts at 7:30 and you travel maybe 30 minutes to get to school. So the child should be out of the house by 7. And then it takes the child maybe another 30 minutes to get ready for school, wearing the uniform, maybe eating a little and all of that. So the child should be voluntarily awake by 6:30. Okay, if that's your target, you have to count backwards. 9 hours before 6:30 is definitely the bedtime. Okay, the good news is children learn to fix their sleep faster than an adult. Okay, we just have to mind it. Next is motivation. Okay, we want the child to be his best, emotionally also for school. He will spend, what, 5 hours and longer in school. So his best work will happen in school. And the work that will be graded, the work that will get credit for the next year, or at least for an academic year, will happen in school. So what we have to remember is that everybody's motivated, but we do things for our reason, not for your reason. Not, and the parent in this situation happens to be the one with the goal. So what can we do? We can create an environment where the child will be motivated to learn. He looks forward to school. So how do you cultivate that kind of motivation? Create a safe space. Let the child experience you listening to his ideas and his feelings. And always allow him to choose his next step. There's a caveat. Choices do prevent the child from saying no to you or from being defiant. But if you are the parent and a wise one at that, I suggest you only offer choices that you like, only acceptable, only appropriate choices. Don't ask the child, what do you want to eat? Ice cream or broccoli? That's not fair. Okay. Maybe you can ask the child, which do you want to eat? The broccoli first or the carrot? Something like that. When the child is making choices, he's not only saying what he likes, but he learns a pattern that he makes decisions and he learns to manage his decisions. And when this becomes habitual, he learns to trust his judgment, or he learns to make better choices next time. And hopefully this will translate to a better career, a better lifestyle, and even a better choice for a life partner. So how do I cultivate motivation? I want the child to think of the 4 Gs. This is my first lesson on mindfulness with them. So usually I don't see them at night. I see them during the day, mostly out after school if they go to school already. And I guide them to reflect on the 4 Gs. So I define it now. What is grace? Grace is when you want to thank something. I want to say thank you to. Maybe I want to say thank you to the guard who carried my heavy bag. So that's a grace. That's how I want the child to remember. What's your grace? What's your grace? What was the thing you liked? Maybe you learned something interesting, you ate something new, you visited something different. That's your grace. Okay, and what's the gift? When the child is ready to think outside of himself, what's the gift is you do something that deserves a thank you. Okay, so most of the time the child will tell me, oh, I helped my mom carry her shopping bag, or I helped my brother pack his suitcase. He's going to Manila. So those are gifts. The child is giving it, and it teaches the child every day to think, I need a gift. I need to think about another person's need. I need to think about serving another person. The most interesting gift I heard was from a boy who listened to the janitor tell him that the school will not allow him to work anymore because he's too old. And the boy said, my family has a business. Do you want a job with us? So the parents, they were shocked, but they did consider, I don't know what happened. I'll have to ask him again. They did consider the janitor because that's the boy's gift. He talked about it. What's your goal? Usually we talk about this because we're discussing this at the beginning of our tutorial. We think of one thing. I learned that from a book Ryan shared before, now that you focus on one thing. So we teach the child, what's your goal? What's your goal? For this meeting, what do you need to do? And if it's going to be you, the parent, maybe you want them to think about their goal while they're preparing their bag for school. So at least they know what they have to do. It makes them more purposeful. And finally, what's your God? Yes, I can't separate God from my talks. I'm so sorry if, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but I do talk about praying to children, and I ask them to tell me what they want to pray for. Sometimes the prayer starts to be something related to the family. Like I have a child who says, my grandpa is undergoing KIMO therapy. So what's that? Oh, chemotherapy. So we're praying for it, or they're looking forward to a birthday. I want to pray for my mom's birthday because it will happen this month. So it's very good that it teaches the child to um, pray for another person. So my student recently just told me that his brother is now living in Manila for university. And for how many days already? That's his God. He's asking that his brother is always safe. And that's wonderful, no? In a world where you open video, everybody's talking about this new generation being narcissistic. Not really. You just have to guide them where to put their attention to. Okay. My other suggestion is activity, okay, or movement. No? They stimulate learning, they stimulate decision making, even improve the mood, and definitely grow the memory. There are many, many researches about this, no? That the mind controls the body, and yes, when you move the body, you stimulate the mind. Books have been written about that. So what do we do with kids? We encourage movement every day. Ideally, when they get home, they should have some movement because they sat long. No? They were in school. And how many days do they get PE? Usually only one for the whole week. So they really have some energy. Okay. So we encourage movement. Maybe allow them to play. If you have a park, let them visit that. No? Um, or allow them to move while they are learning because that's possible at home. Maybe they can learn from an audio book, no, while they are running. No? So that's more of me actually. That's how I do it. But for a parent, maybe they like certain stories. You can create the audio for them. Anyway, we all have our phones. So while they are running, they can listen to their favorite story. It could be a chapter book when they're only still reading a few pages at a time. Okay. You can also learn to pace or walk while you memorize something. This will engage three senses at least: what you see, what you hear, and your movement sense. So that's wonderful. It's actually my secret to memorizing difficult things. Um, Encourage the child to walk instead of riding a vehicle when they need to do errands or chores. If they are in a mall, maybe they can take the stairs instead of elevators. You can also make it a fun and a bonding experience for the family. Maybe you can swim together, which actually is the best thing for kids who need to lose weight because they feel weightless in water. And most kids really like the water a lot. So just leave them there, and they're going to move all the major muscles at the same time. They can also explore dancing. They can explore taking care of plants, or they can ride bicycles as a family, or they can join a team sport. Now, my suggestion though for parents is don't get carried away that your social calendar becomes your child's after school activities. Okay, maybe you can just join one club at a time. And if you pay for lessons, agree with the child that you won't discontinue the lesson. It's not a trial. It will be at least a year. No? Because most kids, when they experience an obstacle, they will already say, oh, I'm done. I don't want to learn violin anymore. You don't want to collect all the musical instruments in your house. Now you want to let the child go through some challenges and learn to discover that he can overcome them. Okay. Personally, I was learning piano since I was 5 and I stopped at 12. So that was a very good run. Okay. Um, Another suggestion would be real food. Okay. If you want a tattoo, tattoo that into your body. Real food. The brain needs real food to stay healthy and resilient. So the brain needs to stay hydrated to work well. It will accept water best. So the best drink for children is not milk, it's water. And please give them warm water, as hot as they can tolerate, because the brain will absorb it faster. We encourage children, actually 5 to 8 years old, to drink 5 glasses of water every day. Making it juice or making it chocolate milk is different. It really has to be just water. The sugar actually prevents the brain from absorbing it. So 9 to 12 years old, we encourage 7 glasses of water a day. 13 years and older, maybe 10. Okay. Drinking water also helps you eat at the right time. Most of the time you are thirsty, you're not hungry. Okay. The brain also needs healthy fat, specifically omega-3 fatty acids, or more specifically, the DHA or docosahexaenoic acid. Um, Eggs are the cheapest and the most convenient source of DHA. You already get 29 milligrams of DHA in the yolk. So please consider adding eggs to the child's snack bag. Very convenient. You can make it even attractive. I've seen some food art. I didn't show it here because I didn't want you to be distracted. But every child should like eggs. Okay. A little bit higher than that, there is more DHA in the following: fish, sardines, mackerel, salmon, tuna. They're very good sources of DHA. Okay, so just be careful about your sources. Even if you feed them beef and pork, make sure as much as possible you're getting those from healthy sources. Okay, and optimal health is really trying to achieve your best health possible. We take supplements for that. And it's wonderful that you are in an environment that values supplementation, because it will be the easiest health habit to teach a child. Okay. Um, Nutrients, multi-nutrients, more than just one kind, will keep your brain resilient. Okay. So if we're looking now at supplements for children, please consider Nutrilite. They are the safest supplements for kids. They grow, harvest, and process plants into supplements from the oldest certified organic farm. Nutrilite turns 90 this year. Okay, it is also Hall of Fame for good agricultural practices and good manufacturing processes. So kids can benefit from the following, which is also available in the country: a multi. Now, it will have vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. The chewable fruits and vegetables will give them 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. These are my favorite because they let the child smell and taste a lot of fruits and vegetables in one tablet. So the child learns to tolerate more veggies. So if you have a problem getting your kids to eat things other than their favorite fried chicken and their favorite chips, no? Please give them Nutrilite. Most kids, especially when they go to school, they will catch viruses. No? They will always come home with something like a runny nose, no? Or a cold or a cough. So please give them Acerola C. We call it the soccer ball, we call it the triangle, so the child recognizes what he is taking. And this will already boost his immune system. And finally, I did mention already a while ago with the real food slide, omega-3 is also available in soft gel. Yeah? We are creative with a chewable form. It's called Brainiums. Please ask your friend how to access that. It's available abroad. When you finally decide to try Nutrilite supplements, my suggestion is refrigerate them Keep them cool. There are no binders or preservatives. They actually melt under enough heat. Take them with meals. It will help the body absorb the supplements faster. And always teach the child that vitamins are not candy. They might like the taste, they might overdose, but I suggest you only follow the recommended dose depending on the child's age. The next one that I want to talk about is to train the child good habits, study habits. And also, the more important part is to track it. Keep tracking the habits every day. We delegate tasks, the second tattoo that you might want to consider, but we never delegate responsibility. It's always the parent who will be responsible for how the child grows up. So as we keep delegating tasks, the tasks tend to be repeated until they become routines or habits. And finally, when the children can manifest these habits, study habits, they finally learn to share the responsibility of learning with the parent. So my suggestion is you read the book, Atomic Habits. I got this from the internet. This is a quick summary, a very beautiful illustration of how to grow the right habits. You make it obvious, you make it easy to do, you make it very attractive, you make it satisfying. So what habits am I talking about? We'll look at the study schedule, okay? We want every habit to be obvious, to have a home. So let's set up a study for a child, something that will not have a lot of distractions. It will have the supplies he needs. Maybe all the devices are silent when the child is studying. It doesn't need to be a room. Maybe your space is limited, but it can be a desk. Maybe the desk is folding, but when it's out, the child knows, okay, this is my office. We also want to look at a clear goal. So we want to use organizers. Okay. You may want to use a calendar because that's very easy for a child. He can see his task. Younger kids, maybe they will look at 1 week at a time. Older kids can look at 1 month at a time. Okay. Teach the child to study in short sessions. Okay, only 25 minutes at a time, because research tells us that we only remember the beginning and the ending of what we studied. So that's a primacy effect, the beginning, and a recency effect, the last thing we study. If you put short breaks, this will help you remember more beginnings and more endings. But mind you, when you have a break, it's just to drink water, to stretch. Don't listen to a song, because it breaks your concentration. You switch tasks, so it will be longer to get back on the task that you were working on. When I work with kids, I work with the hardest task first, or the most urgent task. Maybe it's a test tomorrow, because I teach single tasking. We don't multitask, actually, we switch tasks. So most kids are diagnosed with attention deficits because they never learn to single task, okay? So we focus our energy, because we know that willpower, even our focus, will dip when we are tired. So the easiest task will be done for last, okay? We also look at habits for your transcripts, your notes. Every child needs to be very good at note taking. And it's not simply taking a screenshot, which maybe some of you are doing right now. Okay, we need to teach a child a system to record and organize his ideas. Maybe he's doing it using highlighters. Maybe he's using colored pens. Maybe red if it's important, or maybe it's an erasable pen, because at a certain level, the child will transition to using permanent markers or permanent ballpoint pens. So you might want to start with erasable pens first, because he cannot use his pencil anymore. Maybe you want to use index cards. Maybe he likes drawing a lot. He can draw the map of his concepts. Or maybe he likes it organized, like me with my outlines. So you can outline the ideas. Maybe it's very audio, especially if it's in Filipino. No? You might want to record the story so he can listen to it a lot. Maybe he needs notebooks. No? I have two sets of notebooks actually. There are notebooks that teachers read in school, and there are notebooks that I work with the child in my sessions. Okay. I have an acronym for writing notes, and you might want to take note of that. I use the word ACT, ACT. That's why I have these pictures. A will be what will I apply or what will I do already? Because sometimes you're hearing an idea and you say, I need to do that. So that's A. I put a small a beside the handout because it will tell me, oh, I need to do this already. And then C for me is what do I need to confirm? Or maybe a question is in my heart, or what you're saying makes me doubt or ask a follow-up question. So I put a C because I need to get back to it. It needs some research. And finally, what will I teach? Because when you share what you learn, you remember it longer. Okay. I've trained children to write to-do lists, like a small post-it that they fold it, they put it inside their pencil box. Usually it's in a color that will attract their attention. And it helps them remember all the things I want them to remember. So even if the child struggles with short-term memory or organizing his thoughts, it helps him. Okay. Another thing that requires some habits will be how the child deals with assignments or work that needs to be done at home. Okay. I teach him to get organized first. No? He needs to encode the assignment when it is due. So usually we really have to look at a calendar. No? Sometimes we make it, sometimes we print it. When they're old enough, we can buy the organizers for them. Okay. So we put the assignment on the day it is due, but we backtrack. We set different deadlines for the process. For example, it is a book report. So we will talk about, choosing the book, a different deadline, writing the themes of the book, a different deadline, our outline for our draft, a different deadline, and finally our first draft, a different deadline. No? Don't teach the child to cram because you realize there's a book report due tomorrow and you do everything tonight. No, it will first of all change the sleep schedule, and at the same time it will create a very anxious child who will not like writing, essays, term papers, and all of that. Okay. Encourage also the child to investigate. We are in the information age. During my time, it was a visit to the library. Maybe the child can also learn how to search online. And maybe if it's really very interesting to him, you can also look up possible museums or experience centers that you can take the child to. Okay. Another habit that you want to plan for will be reading for ideas. So this is actually a ritual that I like. No? I don't have kids, so sometimes I ask parents to allow me to include preparing the textbooks with the child in my session. So like Marie Kondo, no, we say thank you to the book because we're excited. It will be our friend, which teaches the child to value his books. He will not vandalize, he will not throw it, he will not lose it. We cover it well, no? And we attach ribbons. No? That will be the child's bookmark. I train kids as early as grade 1, no? To use the ribbon where the teacher asked him to open his book in school. So it's very easy for him to tell me, oh, we did this. He can show me the page quickly. Okay. Especially if the child has limited expressive skills. Okay. We also teach the child to carry a dictionary. No? So I'm glad the bags now have wheels. No? So they don't have to carry it under bags. So the bags will carry a dictionary. Usually I have a preference for what kind of dictionary I like. Sometimes I buy it. I'm actually the kind of tutor who can give a dictionary to a child as a birthday gift and they don't get mad. When they're older, they will learn to use a Filipino English dictionary also. And even older, they will learn to use a thesaurus. Okay, references are very important because you're trying to build the child's vocabulary. Now, so when we have our textbook, we study it. Now we learn where the table of contents are. We learn if there are things like glossary. Now we learn if there are concepts defined in different boxes around the page. We also look for guide questions because usually they will help us know we learned the chapter well. We look at concept maps. Some books now are even highlighted. I admire that. It's making my job easier. Now we also look at summaries that are provided at the end of each chapter. Most of the time, that will be our pages to study before an exam. If there are activities to answer, we also answer it because sometimes teachers copy these activities for their tests. So basically, we want the child to learn to read for ideas and to learn to highlight them. Because when you're nearing your exam, there's not enough time to read every line again. You just read what you highlight. Okay. Sometimes we listen to recorded stories. Like I said, it might be you doing the recording. This will actually maybe help you teach the child the poem he has to memorize or the story he has to write a book report about. When you are reading, the child is silent 30% of the time because he's just collecting information. But the child should be 70% of the time reciting, participative, active, loud, because this will help him reflect and personalize learning. What do I mean by that? He can finally transcribe. He will write the words, his words, and he will write his examples and his stories. This is beginning look into metacognition. Now that the child is finally thinking about his thoughts on what he is reading. I'm almost done. Finally, the tests. How do you prepare for the test? Well, we prepare because we have good notes. Okay, like I mentioned before, you might decide to use index cards. Okay, how wonderful that they're colored already. So you can choose a different color per subject if you like. It will organize things. So how do you use an index card? I call it a word bank. No? So maybe there's a very difficult word in front, and the definition or how to use it in a sentence will be at the back. And this could apply to any concept the child is learning. So every day he's adding to the bank. And you can play a game. You can pick the same index card, and then the child can count his scores. Can he remember how many definitions? Can he spell? Can he add examples to it? These will be the same index cards that he will study when it's time for exam. When they're older, they might consider studying with a partner or in another group. Maybe there's three. Nothing more than that because some of them will not be contributing anymore. Why do you want to consider a study group? Maybe there are just too many things to study. I remember I went through that in college. Maybe the same for you. Like you can't possibly read everything on the course outline. So you divide it. And then it gives you an opportunity to teach a concept well because you're assigned to learn it. Okay. When you are teaching a concept or a chapter or a book, your brain will strive to organize what you are learning in a better way, like what I did in the days going to tonight, because I was given this assignment early this week. Another way to prepare for tests will be questions. Okay. questions will direct your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that is sensitive to finding answers. So my suggestion is you read the questions before you read the text. Na? Get the child into that habit as well. And every time you study something, you explore questions and possible answers too. Because you might just discover some of the questions will come out in the test. Okay? Instead of rereading your books, explore retesting. Okay? Testing actually is a skill set. Some people are very good taking tests. No? We want the child to be very good learning and also very good taking tests. So when you have practice tests, the child will become more confident. No? Anxiety will not impact his performance in school. You may want to study the test conditions. Is the child doing multiple choice, true or false? Or is the child under time limit? Is the child seated one seat apart like that? You may want to replicate it when you're rehearsing with the child. So it's familiar with him already in school. Okay. Learn answers when you finally have them at the start. Sometimes you will be lucky. Your reviewer already comes with answers. That's how I reviewed for my board exam actually. Learn the answers with the questions before you start taking the tests because it will already give you the first impression and you usually remember the first impression or the first answer. There won't be any confusion. So when you do your practice tests, you will realize how many items you were able to successfully remember. Okay. You may want to work with Post-its. Explore transparent Post-its. I just discovered those because you can black out the answers and then you can write your answers in an answer sheet. And then you will realize, oh, that's my answer. It's wrong or it's correct. Repeat the learning. We call it spaced repetition over time. Do not cram, please. My students like exam weeks because they know they still study a few hours with me and they go home earlier. Don't cram because they've been studying over and over again. May I direct your attention to the box of index cards? Maybe you have shoe boxes. You can number them 1, 2, 3 at the beginning. So all the new material goes into box 1. If they are correct, they skip box 2, they go to box 3. Okay, so it's spaced learning. If they're wrong, they stay in box 1. So maybe 1 happens every day. Every day you open the index cards in box 1, you study it, and maybe the ones in box 2, you study probably once a week. Okay, and the one in box 3, you study once every 2 weeks. Okay, so if you are repeating in a spaced manner, you are transitioning from short-term memory to long-term memory. Okay, so you might want to study that system. Okay, and also during the test, because I can't ignore this, you teach the child to read first all the instructions because he might need the teacher's help understanding it. At least the teacher is still there, ready to answer questions. He should scan all the items and look at the back because sometimes they also printed at the back. He needs to know which items are easy because he needs to answer them fast. And then he needs to answer the rest slowly, okay? Because he might need to remember a few things and he needs to review all the items before he submits it. Some parents also help children memorize like formulas, the periodic table or the times table, or a list of the planets like that. If they memorized some things, I teach my students to write it, whatever it is, the formula, the times table. In my case, it was the periodic table. To write it at the back, the first blank back page of their test paper. Because nobody's going to accuse you of using cheat notes when you wrote your formula on the test paper. Obviously, you didn't hide it in your body or you didn't hide it in your materials. Okay. So you also teach them mnemonics because it helps them remember a lot of things well for a long time. For example, you can say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And this will teach them the order of operations when solving a complicated math problem. Please will be answer the parentheses or the groupings first. Excuse means answer the exponents next. My would mean multiply, dear, divide, aunt, add, and then Sally will be subtract. Okay? Or another famous mnemonic will be, my very easy method just speeds up naming planets. So it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, no, in the right order. Okay? Tests will happen not once, but multiple times or in schedules. So every time a test is returned, no, recreate the perfect test, or what I call the key. No? So that's why you have a second notebook. Now you recreate the perfect test, you write it as a reviewer for the big test. Because usually in schools, they will have a quiz, then they will have a mastery test, then they will have a quarterly exam. I hope I'm not overwhelming everybody. Anyway, I'm done. No? To recap, okay, a smart start for another A+ school year includes sleep. Yeah, that's your baseline, your motivation every day, your activity, your schedule, your real food, and tracking your study habits. And these are on your study schedule, your transcripts, your assignments, your reading plan, and your tests. I enjoyed sharing my practice to everybody here. You won't need me to tutor your child anymore. I hope you learned ideas that can help you learn to, you know, a new skill or become better at learning yourself. No? May we all keep on learning to be our best every day. God bless. I give you back to Ryan.
Romina, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I wish we all had you as our teacher when we were growing up. But the next best thing is to raise our kids knowing what you just talked about earlier. Amazing. Thank you so much. We've had a lot of people commenting. Really appreciate what you've shared just in time for many kids going back to school. And some of the things you actually shared tonight are applicable to ourselves as well, even as we're as adults. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You mentioned also earlier that tonight's event is brought to us by Nutrilite. So I just want to show very quickly several videos that discuss what Nutrilite is and how Nutrilite supplements can actually be beneficial for your growing child. So give us a moment and please enjoy.
It starts with you because it ends with you. Every step, every process, every decision, we do it with you in mind. That's traceability. And it's just another day at Nutrilite. It starts with owning our own organic farms and the purity of process that comes with it. Everything we grow sustainably and without harmful pesticides on over 6,000 acres of certified organic farmland. Everything we nourish starts with a seed, pure and honest, healthy and good. We carefully choose the richest botanicals and extract only the purest nutrients. We track, trace, and tag every seed, every plant, every ingredient, obsessively tending to them so they can do the same for you. And we document, review, check, and recheck every detail along the way, so you have peace of mind knowing our products are safe and effective, from seed to package to you. And while some might call this over the top, we have another name for it: Nutrilite. Nutrilite. Plant, grow, thrive.
Okay, fantastic. If you'd like to learn more about Neutralite and what your child could actually take to enhance their learning, please get back to the friend who invited you. At this point, we have some breakout rooms so you can discuss and maybe ask more questions. So thank you for joining us. And thank you once again, Romina. This has been another episode of the Optimal Health series. Have a wonderful evening and a great start to the school year. God bless everyone.